changes everything. He needs to get back in.
He gets stuff done. He's about America. He puts America first. He gets the job done.
We got to be united, and that's what Trump wants. He wants a united America.
Hundreds of conversations with Trump supporters across Iowa and New Hampshire over 7 months. And what have I learned? The people who love him really love him.
Donald Trump is great. He picks on a lot of people. Get over it.
And through all those interviews, I kept hearing a lot of the same things over and over. Trump fans are laser focused on the economy, immigration policy, and feel an overwhelming sense of injustice. Like Nicholas Dagnall, an 18-year-old high school senior from Franklin, New Hampshire.
He's a businessman, and at the end of the day, America is a business and should be run like a business.
Despite low unemployment, below 4% for almost 2 years, Americans are still feeling the impact of inflation. I first met Virgil Thornston, a Navy veteran, at a barbershop in Waukon, Iowa in August of 2023. The 3.7% inflation rate at the time, way down from its peak, he said wasn't being reflected in his day-to-day experience. Things still cost a lot more.
Well, one thing is I was just over and had a meatball dinner and it cost me $16.
And even 5 months later, on the night of the Iowa caucuses, brothers Mike and Joe Stein, student athletes at the University of Iowa, agreed that higher prices were a big part of Trump's win.
I think people know that they had a better lifestyle with inflation and grocery money and gas money. The results speak for themselves.
And then there's the border. Trump's signature issue, starting all the way back in 2015, still resonating. From the Lothenberg brothers in Dubuque, Iowa in September.
Our border is just too easy to get into.
To Keith Christine, who I met waiting in line for a Trump rally during a thunderstorm in July.
The border and everything, all the crises have just doubled, and everything was better under the Trump administration.
New Hampshire and Iowa, both a long way from the southern border and the cities where migrants are getting bussed. But it doesn't mean that the record number of people arriving aren't on voters' minds.
The invasion at our border has brought a number of enemies of America in, and our infrastructure is not well guarded.
And finally, I kept hearing over and over that Trump is the victim.
I feel like he's fighting for his right.
91 felony counts, but Colleen Decker, a pastor's wife in Ottumwa, Iowa, says they've only helped the former president.
I definitely think it has promoted him.
Trump's polling has only gotten stronger in the face of his indictments.
Bring on some more charges.
They're going to indict a ham sandwich.
When I asked Trump supporters at the Iowa State Fair back in August why Trump had been indicted for the 4th time in Georgia for his alleged efforts to illegally overturn the election, voters like Jeff Lendrick, a school custodian, said they didn't know why and they didn't care.
Do you care that he's been indicted 4 times?
No, that just makes me want to vote for him more. Because whoever the Democrats hate is who I like.
Trump's legal troubles aren't the only so-called injustice I kept hearing about. Many of them believe Trump's baseless assertion that the last election was stolen from him.
I think they cheated before, and I think they're going to try to do it again because they're a bunch of communists that don't care.
George Crosby, a retired truck driver and veteran from Fitzwilliam, New Hampshire, is just one of the many people who repeated Trump's unfounded claim that he actually won re-election in 2020.
President Trump, he is still president in my mind.
A man whose personality has seemingly overshadowed the rest of the Republican field.
A man who loves this country like I love my country.
And whose supporters are completely enamored.
When you see him hugging a flag and kissing it, it's real, it's true.
Alex is joining us now. So, Alex, we know that many of the former president's supporters inside the Republican Party, as you point out, very loyal to him. The question is, what happens to former President Trump if he does make it into a general election against President Biden? Of course, that's where some of these question marks are. One of the things that I found in my time in the field, and it was great to see you the last couple of weeks in Iowa and New Hampshire, is that when you talk to supporters of these candidates, any of the candidates, they want to tell you why they're backing who they back. Did you find that to be your experience as you were living in Iowa, as you're getting ready to move to Arizona to cover that state?
Not necessarily is that always the case for me, Hallie. Former President Donald Trump's rhetoric against the media industry, against journalism, has taken a bit of a toll in terms of when I'm trying to interview voters. But when there is that hesitancy, at least my approach is I take the camera, I put it off on the side. I talk to these voters and I tell them I work for NBC News, but I tell them a bit about who I am as a person. And I learn a little bit about who they are, because I'm not going to be able to dispel anyone's preconceived notion about the media industry in a couple of minutes, but I can build a little bit of trust. And if they do the interview, and it doesn't always work out, but when they do take the interview, I find it makes a more authentic interview, a more authentic experience. On the back end, I'll take down their phone number, I'll give them a call, I'll shoot them a text, and show them that their interview was properly reflected and their opinion was properly displayed. Hallie?
Alex Tabet, thank you very much for bringing us a look there at what is driving some of the support for former President Trump. It's part of a story, as we'll be doing in the Backstory, our reporter's notebook, throughout the next few weeks leading up to South Carolina. Thanks.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.